Hello and welcome to Bespoke Unit. My name is Rafael and today I'm going to be doing an in-depth review of the Seiko reference SRPE05 prospects, otherwise known as the King Turtle. Now, many are starting to call this the grenade or the grenade dial turtle. However, I have some different ideas about where the inspiration for this dial color and style came from. I'll be getting into that and much more in this video, so let's get started. And here we are with the Seiko King Turtle reference SRPE05, and at a glance, a great looking watch. This green theme that obviously we see on the strap and the dial is a very military olive kind of tone. It's not sure how well it's coming through across on the camera. I'm trying to get some reflections so you can get a better idea of the tone, but nevertheless a great twist while staying in line with the original Turtle. Of course, all dimensions and everything. I'm going to be reviewing those in a second. All of those are exactly the same. We've just made some slight changes as far as color, and some elements have been upgraded, which they don't make it a completely new watch. Of course, the beloved Seiko Turtle profile is still here, but they do make it slightly different, and I think a better watch, although I know there's some big Turtle fans out there who will likely disagree. Anyways, onto the specifications. This is going to be nearly 45 millimeters in diameter, which is a large measurement by a lot of measures, let's say, especially for somebody like me. I usually prefer watches that are closer to 40 millimeters. However, it wears these dimensions very, very well. Continuing on, our lug-to-lug is going to be nearly 47 millimeters. Yep, that seems to be right on the money. 13 millimeters of thickness or depth, let's say, and 22 millimeters here in the lugs or the strap size. Now, as I was mentioning, those dimensions are kind of large, certainly the diameter one, but this turtle shell shape, of course, that's how the original turtles earned their nickname, makes it so that the watch wears super flat on the wrist, and ultimately that makes it very, very comfortable, especially on this strap, which does a great job of molding around the wrist there. Now, the case is going to be stainless steel. We have a satin finish on top of the lugs throughout the case, and that contrasts with the high polish, the mirror polish seen on the rest of the watch. You can see this is a pretty new example. Have been wearing it, but those case back stickers, you just kind of let them fall off on their own. Now, moving in closer, we see our traditional diver's bezel, of course, unidirectional. I do like to do this sort of play or test where you can see how much it moves within each position before clicking, and this one really does not have a lot of play at all. Of course, we have this kind of knurled, or I don't even know what to call this texture. Obviously, I guess this conformation, it looks a lot like its dial, and it is different from what would be a traditional Seiko Turtle bezel texture. So I think that's a nice detail that Seiko did differently in this piece. I have done a up-close comparison of your traditional or your reissue SRP777 Turtle and this one, and that's on another video. I'll link it here so that you guys can go and check out those differences. Continuing on with the bezel, this is going to be a ceramic bezel, which I think is a great upgrade from the traditional Seiko Turtle, which is usually aluminum. The bezel, you just catch it at the right light, it reflects beautifully. You can see it almost looks like one piece with the crystal there. Speaking of the crystal, this is a scratch-resistant sapphire crystal. Now, sapphire is not something that you often see on a Seiko sports watch. However, they have gone ahead with the King Turtle and upgraded that piece, and probably because the Seiko watch community is a big modding community, and likely the two first modifications that most collectors would make was they'd buy an aftermarket ceramic insert and they buy a sapphire crystal for their watch, whether it's a turtle in this case, or that's seen very commonly in SKX collectors. But anyway, Seiko said, we'll just do it ourselves as opposed to letting you go and give that revenue to somebody else. But it's done very well. Not only is it the crystal sapphire now, it also has a cyclops. Not that I've found it difficult to read the date on the normal turtle. However, it does change the look of it, makes it looks a bit more refined, more dressy, and I think it's a nice detail. Continuing on with the dial, we have this green waffle dial, which I'm a huge fan of. Again, I mentioned in the intro that this has been called the grenade, not only because of the color, but also because of the texture. I think the inspiration for this likely comes from the Audemars Piguet dials seen on both the Royal Oak and the Royal Oak Offshore. In this size, the square size, AP has either mega tapisserie. I'll throw up some pictures here so you can see the mega tapisserie and the regular petite tapisserie, which is a traditional. It certainly looks like it. It's obviously very different. The way AP makes it takes, I don't know how many hours per dial. This is likely a much cheaper, not likely, but certainly a much cheaper and faster process creating this dial. Nevertheless, I think it's done very well, and it gives the watch a great look on the wrist. Again, I keep trying to catch it on the light just so you can get an idea of the textures there on that dial. It's by no means a flat dial. It's got depth. It's got multiple layers of details, especially with, you have this raised minute track, which is of course the matching green color with silver printings. And you have your applied hour indices in traditional Seiko fashion. They're very large. Not only plots, the indices themselves are large and contrasting in color. You can see I can catch it on the light there. It looks like brushed steel, but they have tons of lume, and that's going to be green lumen bright, as you can see there. Our hands at center are polished steel, of course, tons of lume as well, and a nice little detail here with the seconds hand that has a splash of gold, also matching the text there on the dial. Speaking of which, you can see there on the dial is 200 meters water resistance, and that is mainly or largely in part to this crown, which is a screw down crown, which obviously makes a big difference as far as allowing water or any kind of moisture into the case at depth where the pressure is increased. Now, continuing on, we have the strap. Again, I mentioned it's very same color, matching the dial, of course, and a very comfortable strap. It's very flexible. I don't know, you kind of got to touch it. It's very soft to the touch. It does have this traditional Seiko texture under it where it keeps the rubber from kind of just sticking flat against your wrist, which is very nice. Very long, I would argue. Again, this being intended to be, if it's a true or professional tool, professional diver's watch, often intended to be worn over a wetsuit. And of course, it does have a large strap. If you do plan on doing that, it should fit without issue. This King Turtle has what I think is a great detail here in this metal keeper. It's obviously branded, brush finish, even just on the keeper. Seiko hasn't cut any corners here. You have multiple angles. Again, the play between a brush finish on top, polished sides, and it's done, throughout the keeper. So again, small details, but they add up to a wonderful, wonderful product. And of course, lastly, we have our matching, also branded tang buckle. Now, on the back, we can't see much as far as the movement, but we know that it's a 4R36 Seiko self-winding or automatic movement that's going to have 41 hours power reserve. As far as complications, obviously, we see that it's a day and date. It also has winding here through the crown. I'm going to shut up and put it up against the mic so you can hear. That is at position 0, so I just unscrew the crown. You can see it's got a little movement here, and I'm able to wind it by rotating the crown clockwise. Position 1 is going to be the calendar or the day change, where Saturday and Sunday have different tones, and you can also see that this calendar has both English, Wednesday, Spanish, miércoles, and lastly, The last position is, of course, our time setting function. And it's important to note here, let me get it out from under the cyclops there, but check out the seconds hand. When I pull out the crown to the time setting position, it stops. So what that allows you to do, it's known as stop seconds or hacking seconds. If you're setting the time, you can obviously, with the seconds hand not moving, you can time or set the time on the watch to, or very, very precisely to a reference time zone. We push the crown back in and it goes back to ticking. There you have it. That's our review of the Seiko Prospex SRPE05 King Turtle. Now, if that video left you with any questions or comments, make sure to leave them in the section below. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, and subscribe to our channel for more wristwatch and men's lifestyle content. If you're looking for pricing on this piece, check the link in the description. Sometimes you can find a deal, other times the price is just what it is. Anyways, I'm Raphael, this is Bespoke Unit, thanks for watching.